Today, we're going to talk about something we've all felt. Insult. You know, that sting, that personal hit that just knocks the wind out of you? But we're not just going to dwell on the pain. No, we're going to explore how to turn that hurt into your most powerful fuel for success. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been insulted? I mean, really insulted. That sharp gut punch feeling when someone just makes you feel small, dismisses you, belittles you? Of course you have. We all have, right? And it's something that sticks with you. It's painful. And it's not something you just shake off.
Okay, so let's start with that initial sting. I mean, we got to be honest about how much it hurts before we can even think about using it, right? That immediate gut-level reaction. When someone shows you disrespect.
Yeah, words just like that, they're basically designed to get under your skin, to inflict pain. They want you to question yourself, to doubt your own worth. And of course, they light that fire of anger inside you. And what's our first instinct when that happens? We want to lash out, right? We want to fight back.
But what if that insult, as awful as it feels, is actually necessary? What if I told you that being looked down on is one of the key ingredients for achieving something truly great? See, this is where we have to flip the script in our own minds. If you look back through history, you'll see it over and over again. So many of the people who've reached the absolute top, they started from a place of deep humiliation. But instead of letting it crush them, they took that painful memory and turned it into the rocket fuel that launched them to the top.
So, you want to see how it's done? Let's look at some real-life examples. We're going to dive into some incredible stories of legendary people who were totally humiliated and see exactly how they turned that moment of shame into their greatest victory.
First up, let's talk about Ratan Tata. The year is 1999. Now, he's one of India's most respected business leaders, but he's in a tough spot. He's just launched Tata Motors' very first passenger car, the Indica. And, well, it was a total flop.
So his company is losing a ton of money. He flies all the way to Detroit hoping to sell his struggling car business to Ford. But when he gets there, oh man, the meeting is just brutal. He's met with pure arrogance. The Ford executives basically tell him he knows nothing about cars and that they'd be doing him a huge favor by taking it off his hands. They humiliated him, told him to just walk away.
But here's the thing. This is the power move. He didn't argue. He didn't yell. He got on a plane that same night, flew back to India, and he held on to that insult. He bottled it up and poured every ounce of that energy into turning his company around. And you know, time has a funny way of working out. Fast forward just 9 years to 2008. Now Ford is the one on the verge of bankruptcy. And guess who walks in to buy their most famous luxury brands? Jaguar and Land Rover? Yep, the very same man they had disrespected all those years ago, Ratan Tata.
Okay, that story is incredible. But our next example, it's on a whole other level. It's about turning a lifetime of systemic insult into an act that would change the world. Let's talk about the ordeal of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the man who wrote India's constitution.
See, Dr. Ambedkar was born into what was called an untouchable caste, and because of that, he faced just relentless humiliation every single day. Think about this. As a kid, he had to sit outside the classroom, away from the other students. He couldn't even drink water from the same well as everyone else. And this didn't stop. Even later in life, as a respected official, the office peon wouldn't even hand him files directly. He would throw them on his desk from a distance.
So, how do you even respond to a lifetime of that? Well, he didn't respond with anger or violence. He responded with his mind. He took all of that pain and channeled it straight into his education, getting degrees from some of the best universities in the entire world. And then, he came back and wrote the Constitution for a free India, making sure that the very rights and dignities that were denied to him would be guaranteed for millions of others. What an answer!
And you see this same pattern with another giant of history, Mahatma Gandhi. For him, it all came down to one defining moment. One single, brutal act of humiliation when he was just a young lawyer in South Africa. He was physically, violently thrown off a train, just for being in a whites-only car. A brutal insult. But right there, in that moment of humiliation, his response became his life's mission. He made a vow. Just like you threw me from this train, I will one day throw you out of my country. And that single personal insult sparked a movement that would eventually free an entire nation.
And look, this isn't just about politics or big business deals. It works in the world of arts and entertainment too. Take the story of the legendary actor Amitabh Bachchan, for example.
When he was trying to make it, he got rejected over and over again. And you know what they told him? They said he was too tall.
and that his voice was too deep, too heavy. Now think about the irony here. The two things they called his weaknesses became his trademarks. They became his greatest strengths. The very things that made him a superstar.
Okay, so these stories are amazing, right? Super inspiring. But what does it mean for you and me? How do we actually take these lessons and use them in our own lives? When someone insults us, how do you really turn that raw anger into a fire that works for you, not against you? You know, the biggest mistake most of us make is reacting right away. We argue, we complain, we lash out. The real power move is to do the complete opposite. First, you keep that anger inside. Don't just let it fly. Second, and this is the most important part, you make it your fire. You own it. Third, you take all that intense energy, and instead of wasting it on a fight, you pour it into getting better, into self-improvement, just like we saw with Tata and Ambedkar. And finally, step 4, you just work. You work like crazy until your success is the only answer you need to give.
And that really brings us to the main point of all this. When someone tries to bring you down, the best, the most powerful, and honestly, the most satisfying comeback you can ever have, it has nothing to do with what you say.
Always remember, the wheel of time keeps turning. If you argue back in that moment, you're just giving them your power. But if you focus on your own work, on your own growth, and you build yourself up to a point where their insult looks absolutely absurd in hindsight, that is how you win. You let your actions and your success deliver the final, crushing word.
So, I want to leave you with this, a promise you can make to yourself the next time someone tries to put you down. Those who rejected me seeing my bad times, I promise, I will bring such a time that they will have to make an appointment to meet me. Now go on, go turn that insult into your fuel.